Hi and welcome to the Outquisitions podcast, where we spotlight industry leaders redefining success. The goal of each episode of the podcast is to uncover their stories, their strategies, and insights to inspire, inform, and really elevate your own journey. So let's dive into today's conversation with yet another super inspiring guest. If you want to listen to a really interesting talk, then stay tuned. Will, hello. Thank you for coming into the podcast. How are you?
I am doing splendid. Looking forward to the festive season ahead and very keen to be on this podcast and have a good conversation indeed.
Beautiful. Kick things off. First question. Can you please present yourself and your company?
So I am Wilhelm Klein, born and raised in Germany, but spent a lot of time overseas as well, which is the first connection to our company, because the company got started when me and my co-founders all found ourselves in Hong Kong, where I was doing a PhD in tech ethics. Yeah. And my CTO was doing one in computer vision and graphics, doing some of the earlier AI work, especially on the computer vision end. And the development of the company kind of grew out of that serendipitous meeting of some creative people at university, and then playing around with technology. At the time, I was a director of Hong Kong's hackerspace called Dim Sum Labs, and we were just having fun with technology. And at some point, found an interesting new area of application using artificial intelligence. At the time, primarily for motion capture and 6 degrees of freedom tracking. But like many deep tech companies, we started out in one field and then quickly found a path elsewhere. So we had a very interesting and powerful new approach to doing AI. Much of which has to do with the synthetic data and supplementing what is otherwise difficult to gather in order to make AI and particularly computer vision work with data that doesn't have to be collected. We had this technology and found ourselves with some good traction indeed in the motion capture space, especially in the public event space, providing kind of interaction with crowds and so on. But the timing was not exactly the best, because that all happened in early 2020. Which means very quickly all opportunities to apply any such technology with large crowds and large gatherings vanished more or less overnight. Mm-hmm. But we did come across not much later a very interesting challenge that was put forward by a manufacturer of roof shingles. And roof shingles are a composite material out of glass fiber material, bitumen, and sand granules. And anyone who's dabbling in computer vision will immediately recognize that that's an absolute nightmare to address with computer vision, right? So we saw that challenge to automate the quality control of these kind of products, and recognize that if we drop the 6 degrees of freedom tracking bit, and just double down on the AI's capability to identify and analyze, then we can address that problem. And that's how we landed in this space of helping manufacturers and also third-party QC providers on their journey towards fully automated quality control. So inspection AI, QC AI, that's what we do.
Right. You've mentioned that you met your partner, let's say co-founder, overseas in Hong Kong, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. What has been the role of this overseas experience, Hong Kong, in your development, especially in your specific industry? Would you say it has had a big impact?
We are very much a global company. So at this point, we are primarily based in the UK, but we do have some researchers in Hong Kong where we retain a close connection to the universities there and the ecosystem. And some of the best computer vision research is being done in that area indeed. And we also have some engineers in Vietnam, an engineering laboratory, which is the main reason for that is that my two co-founders are from Vietnam, which means they have a fantastic connection to that region, and we're able to recruit some of the absolute top talent right from university or not far from there, right? So having that ability to tap into talent globally, but also being able to understand different markets, different cultures, certainly I believe helps in this day and age. If you're very insular and you're only really connected to one national ecosystem, that I think that can be a bit of a disadvantage.
Right. Yeah. Would agree. Interesting. So, in terms of who you can help and how you can help them, staying quite high level, maybe because we don't have days and days for the podcast. But yeah, still super interested. So, who do you help and how do you help them?
So what we offer is an AI platform that makes it much easier to deploy, use, and scale vision AI, and in particular inspection AI. So computer vision, right? Mimicking what a human would otherwise be doing, looking at different types of defects, different types of quality control parameters, like is a certain aspect of the product correct or is it incorrect? Is the measurement, the geometry, the placement of elements, is all of that there, right? Anything that you would usually do with a human eye, we can either supplement or augment or replace with a superhuman version, right? We're happy to interface with a lot of different industries, but we found a very good fit, especially with specialty metals, glasses, composites. We're in the aerospace field as well. And that is mostly due to three main types of products where our unique approach is particularly suitable, which is where we have very few products, very few items that can be used to create a data set, or you have a lot of variations. So if you're an agile manufacturer with lots and lots of different types of products and variations that have lots of iterations, or you are producing highly non-uniform, unique products. So that's where these shingle manufacturers would fall into that category, because every single shingle looks different, right? Mm-hmm. And why is that the case? Because we have a unique approach to computer vision. So our approach is a synthetic data approach. And that means where you usually require hundreds, if not thousands, of fully curated data points in order to not run into the chunk in, chunk out problem with computer vision. With us, you can get started with much less. So the way you can imagine how that works is very much mimicking the way a human would be taught, right? So you teach us and you teach the system the way you'd be teaching a human. So instead of giving the human 1,000 fully annotated pictures to learn how to do the inspection, you show a human one sample product. Take the mouse, and then you show one of these scratches here. Maybe you can even see that here. There's a scratch there, together with the defect catalog that virtually everyone has. And then you spend a little bit of time explaining, this scratch, it's when the roller is misaligned. Sometimes it's a bit deeper. Sometimes it can be a bit more elongated. And it's okay if the total length of the scratch is 0.4, as long as the diameter of the area is only 0.3 and so on. You go into some depth, and at some point the human says, I got it. I understand now, right? And what has happened there is that there's a deep appreciation and semantic understanding of these parameters. And from that point, you don't have to keep showing additional examples, right? Because the human has understood it. What has happened in the brain is extrapolation. He or she can imagine how else this might manifest these kind of defects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even if tomorrow I give the worker a mouse that has a slightly different shape, that is not as rounded, right? He or she will still be able to apply these QC parameters. While with the classic machine vision system, it will freak out, because anything that is not as taught as present in the previous data set is a potential defect, right? So you need a system that can understand it at a deeper level. And because we can offer that kind of understanding, we can address these markets in particular. Non-uniform, lots of variations, very limited data.
Right. In terms of regulations, I have no idea about what it takes, but would you be able to give me some insights on what it takes to actually replace human beings?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. Very good question indeed, especially in some of the areas we are in. So when we're talking about the aviation space, for example,
right.
Aerospace, there's a lot of red tape. And in many cases, because security and safety and quality is so important in this area, full automation is not allowed. So in many cases, what we are offering and what we are building our platform to cater to specifically is not replacement, really. It's augmentation. So the way I usually describe that is think not of a robot coming in who tells everyone to stand aside and then the robot does everything for you. But think of it as handing the people a supercharged magnifying glass, right? So a glass that comes with the ability to pre-identify, to point out, to do analysis very quickly. But it's still the human holding it. It's still the human that stays in control and makes the final decisions. And that can still tremendously speed things up, free up a lot of skilled labor from otherwise menial tasks, and provide a lot of benefit. But it still completely retains control in the hands of the human, and that addresses the requirement that nothing can be fully automated at this point.
Right. Yeah. When asking this question, actually, I thought about the aviation industry because I am myself a pilot. Well, I'm not exercising the job right now because I own my company, but for sure, some kind of machine or AI, even the autopilot, right? It could make land a plane or even make the plane take off. But still, we need to have a human being to be able to think creatively in terms of if there's any incident or accident or risks. So taking that into account, how do you envision the next 5 to 10 years? Do you believe that at some point, yes, the AI will be able to take the decision from A to Z?
Well, a lot of this is quite speculative. And there are areas where we will be quicker to that. Some of them are where we are further away. I mean, take the self-driving cars as a prime example. It's a wonderful example of something that we thought is an easy task turning out to be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
In the earlier 20th century, when the first cyberneticists were talking about AI and artificial intelligence and so on, they thought that people quickly thought that what we consider the low skill jobs would be the first ones to be replaced, like flipping burgers or the postman, the milkman and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, these are riding on the developments that we've, as a species, made through millennia. This is all riding on millennia of training data incorporated in our innate abilities to model and map the world.
Right.
And that is completely lacking still. So you need a general understanding system that can understand the world semantically, deeply, in order to form the right ideas about the concepts that it encounters. Right. So to that end, some areas, whenever you have to deal with the whole world, we're still going to take some time, I believe. So the self-driving cars are a good example because they need to understand the entire world. Every road looks different.
Mm-hmm.
But in some deeper, more granular areas of application, I think the performance is already way beyond humans.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hesitation is really based on argument from intuition. Essentially, it's people just don't like it. It's a gut feeling still.
Yeah.
But more and more, I believe, as the data becomes undeniable, if you just have a system that has performed for a very long time and has shown to be much better performing than any human could, why wouldn't you hand over control? Hand over control, right? Make it the main decision maker, as long as you retain some sort of supervision.
Yeah, interesting. Now, coming back to your business, because we went down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Sure. I've been on your website, and it clearly states that you are not a simple software solution, but you are in fact a real partner. Can you give us the difference? What's the main difference, and what's the positioning here?
Yeah, this is kind of born out of many stories that we've told, that we have been told by talking to, let's say, manufacturers who at some point purchased. I think we have one of those examples even on the website. There's a big steel manufacturer in the UK that was making a type of product that didn't change for quite a while, and they bought a very expensive computer vision-based inspection station for it, and it was performing adequately for what the task was. But they changed their product following market demand. They now featured kind of embossing patterns on the product, and the machine vision system flagged everything as a defect. Right. So they went back to the vendor and said, "Could you help us upgrade the system, because currently it's not usable anymore?" And the vendor said, "No. Sorry, that's what you bought, right? That's the product, and that's what it can do. We have a wait list for feature requests, and maybe in 2 years' time, it's going to be a new release, and we'll talk then." Right? That's no use, right? We know that manufacturers are living in a dynamic world, right? The production line constantly changes. There's new demands from their customers. They have new iterations, they have new innovation on their own production line. And when you want to automate something like quality control, you need a partner who can co-evolve with you, where you can make sure that when you make a change, very quickly afterwards, the system can still do the inspection as you're required to do. Otherwise, your ROI is gone, right? So that's why we say, on the one hand, it's a license-based approach, which means we stay with you and you get the constant onboarding of new products, you get a co-involving system. And on the other hand, it's also a real partnership between not just you and the technology, but us, the people behind it. Because we really believe that so much of this is in listening, right? So you can have a great technology and a great platform, but if you don't listen to your customers truly and understand what they need, and also help guide, offer a guiding hand on how to succeed on this AI journey, then it's not going to be beneficial in the end, right? You really need to have someone who arrives with empathy and also respect for current processes and how things are done, and help bring that into the future using some of these modern tools, including an AI platform like the one we are offering.
Right. So anyone listening right now that might be interested in knowing more about yourself and your company and the technology, but they're not sure yet. What would you say are some of the challenges that they are experiencing that you would be able to effectively solve?
Yeah, there are the challenges that we are happy to solve is anything to do with moving from fully manual to semi-automatic or automatic inspection to the true Industry 4.0, 5.0 AI guided full inspection. we're happy to interface at any point, whether someone is just completely manual at this point or has already dabbled with AI or machine vision, but is kind of getting stuck, if there's already hardware in place. We're happy to come in at any point, essentially. We're also very happy to work with people who are making very sophisticated metrology devices, but are passing on the data for humans to inspect afterwards to add a kind of AI backend to that system. But in terms of tangible advice how to get started, I think, as I said in another on Envision days that just happened briefly recently, I was asked the same question. If I'm a manufacturer and everyone is claiming that they're the best, how do I know whom to work with? And I told the interviewer, just spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on a discovery call and see how they interact. Because the tech sounds like sci-fi, right? And it's very difficult to assess. But the reality of how to make this whom to work with really comes down to a very grounded gut intuition, essentially.
Right.
Because if you speak to someone and that person listens to you and cares about you, likely that's going to be a better experience for you, even if technically maybe, who knows, the AI is like 0.2% less efficient than the competitors. If the human component is there, I think you still win. Yeah. So have a chat. Our company is offering free consultations and QC checks to see how ready you are for automation, and then have a chat and start small, set up a POP or POC, and then get started on the journey. Don't make the mistake that a lot have done, trying to not fall behind. Many people invested a lot of money on the basis of very promising first introductions, but then had to learn that it's actually really difficult to truly have a system that performs at very high level of accuracy for a very long time, and provides true ROI.
Yeah, got you. So those people who want to take the call, how can they actually have this call with you?
We have a wonderful little call to action on our website, I believe, where you just have to click the book a call button. And then it walks you through a couple of questions: where you are, whether you're a manufacturer or you're a QC provider, where you are on your journey, whether you already have some hardware or whether you're just getting started. And that gives us already a good idea where to go with the conversation. And then otherwise, set up a call with us and we'll take it from there.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Will, for the time.
Thank you very much, Kid.